Salutations everybody, it is Maddie here today, and if you've clicked on this video, you want to get into the hobby known as game collecting, so welcome! Hopefully this video will serve as a great guide for you to start a brand new hobby. Whether you're just hopping in this year or you've been in and out of the game for a while, I think this video will help you out. Now before I get into my own personal game collection where we're going to evaluate game by game what I paid, what the market price is, did I overpay, did I underpay, I want to establish a little bit of a foundation for this discussion. Number one, if you're new to game collecting, this is not something you really do for profit. You can't just make a ton of money by buying and selling games like you would with old Pokemon cards, right? It doesn't work in that manner where, say you take Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, one of the more hard to find GameCube games, you buy it, and then it's at $50 at launch. Now it's at $200, but that's like 15 years later. Just the years you have to wait for these games to increase in value and to truly make money. By then you could have made money 8 different ways and then some. So don't get into this if you're trying to turn it into a for-profit thing, unless you're like me and you're collecting all these games. One day maybe you will unload your whole collection, and at that point it's just raw profit. But for now, this is a hobby for those who I think are just pure enthusiasts who just want to buy games that you like. So if you're into game collecting, buy the games you like. I cannot emphasize that enough. Number two, to keep track of your game collection, there is a great app, which I'm not sponsored by this app, by the way, called GameEye. You can download it on your phones, and what it does is allow you to take the barcodes on the back of these games, scan them, or you can manually punch them in. You can load in the prices for each of these games, for what you're paying, what the market's paying, whether it's loose, as in the game, the cartridge itself, or complete in box, where it's the manual, all the inserts, the box itself, alongside the game, or sealed, which is something I avoid. But it's a great place to track the prices and exactly keep on top of where you should be when you're paying for a game. There's also pricecharting.com, very popular for game collectors. You can go on there, check prices there. Always research prices, of course, before buying, because it's very easy, especially nowadays where a lot of conventions have shut down. It's very hard to get to your local game shops. It's very easy to overpay for a game. So we're going to see when and where I did that and when I got a good deal. I think overall this year I did a good job. So let's get it started with the PS2 collection. After that, we're getting into the Game Boy Advance. Then we're moving into DS, Xbox, Xbox 360, PS4, so on and so forth. It'll all be labeled in chapters for this video because it's going to be a longer one. All right, game number one is one of my favorites of all time, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3. This does include the bonus disc, so if you pop it open, it has the DVD here. It also has, of course, the game. So this is a highly sought after PS2 game. It is quite a pricey one, but I got a pretty good deal at my local shop. I always recommend when you buy games, if you're really hunting something down that is pricey, check locally first before buying online. Online, this game averages at about $150 a pop. I got it for $100. Is it still a lot of money? Yes, absolutely. You are correct. But I would rather pay $100 than $150, because the way game collecting works, this is an enthusiast hobby, you'll see how many games I truly got for a total of $50. So your $50 could go a long way. Always look for good deals. But this was one that was one of my best additions to the collection. I'm so happy I got it in there. Next is a duo that I want to show off at the same time. I was at a flea market when I got these games. You guys know, big fan of the Champion series. These are pretty niche games on the PS2. They are out of production. They have been for a while. Their print is small, so it was very tough to find these. I was at a flea market and they were both sitting right there, complete in box, each of them. And so I thought to myself, wow, you know, overall, outside of this one missing a clip here, and for this one, I actually still have to get the manual. As you'll see, it's completely empty because the disc is in my PS2. I was playing it, but the manual is missing. But anyway, this game in general is about $30. This game in general, I'm sorry, this is complete in box 40. This is about 30, and the guy offered me both for 20. So I was like, okay, you want to unload it that bad? I'll take it off your hands. I'll take the chance, see if they even work, because that's kind of the game you play with flea markets. Like I said, $50 though can go a long way. So you're going to start to see that in this section of my PS2 collection here, starting off with Legacy of Kain Defiance. This was $18. This is right around the market range that you would normally pay for this game, so we're staying in the right area here. All of these games are complete in box. I don't want to buy loose discs. I'm not one of those people who gets like one of those CD cases and slides in like 8 million PS2 games. I just want it lined with that black label. I was a PS2 kid growing up, so I've actually never played Legacy of Kain, but still, it's a really good game from what I've heard. Budokai 2 was another one I added to my collection. This one was about 10 bucks. This is right in the area you do want to be in for this game. I think it goes for about 12 online. I only have Budokai 2 just because I love the little board game for the story mode. If you guys have played it, you know what I'm talking about. Once again, complete in box. Box is in good shape too. Really like the art on it. I love Boo in the background here and also here. But yeah, really adore Budokai 2. Moving on, this one is one that I sort of overpaid for. We're looking at Dirge of Cerberus Final Fantasy VII. So this one was about $30 when I was looking to collect this earlier in the year around, I want to say April. I got it complete in box as always, and I'll make sure to stop mentioning this at that point because it's pretty obvious I'm getting all these complete in box. But anyway, this was one that was $30 when I got it. I paid that price, and then all of a sudden it just dipped. On eBay, everywhere I looked, it was 20 bucks. And so you can get it pretty cheap now. It's a very niche Final Fantasy VII game. You play as Vincent Valentine. It's a third-person shooter. I mean, what more can you ask for in your life? Highly, highly recommended. But yeah, I did a little bit of a slight overpay on this one. It does pay a lot online nowadays, especially with game collection being limited to things like eBay, really, and a couple of local game stores. Just be patient and do some bidding. It does take a little bit longer to get that product you want, but you'll get good prices out of it. One example is right here, NFL Street. I got this for $15 at my local shop. I did not bid for this one, but if I were to have gone online at the time I was looking at it, it was about 25, 30 bucks, which is way, way, way too high of a price for the game. I love the NFL Street games. I love NBA Street. I like MLB Slugfest. I love all those games, but that was way too high of a price. It also pays to go to your local game stores because you can find games like this, Medal of Honor, Rising Sun, one of my first-person shooters ever as a kid. And this is like $5, right? So like I'm saying, your $50 has a lot of mileage. Keep that in mind when you're thinking you're going to overextend for a game, because you can get Time Splitters. Time Splitters was $15. It goes for about 20, 15 online, in that range there. I kind of regret paying the normal price for it because you'll see what GameStop did back in the day is they would put the sticker. This is not on the outside, as you can see, like my finger's not getting caught on anything here. They would actually, let's see if I can lift this up a little bit. You can see right here, that sticker, yep, it is right on the art. Absolutely heinous. I'm like disgusted that anyone thought that was a remotely good idea. And I have other games in this collection from GameStop. They did that a lot. So, like, bafflingly stupid. Last game, I'm sorry, in the PS2 collection that I got for this year was Jack X Combat Racing. I've actually never played this one, but I'm a big Jack fan. It was $11. This was a slight overpay. It goes for about $8 online, but I just kind of bought into the immediacy factor. This was also in my local game shop, so I figured, hey, why not? Okay, let's go ahead. Let's get rid of the PS2 collection. So we got Desk Room. Now we're moving into the Game Boy. Game Boy Advance games are not cheap. This is where you want to be very wary of your overextension, especially if you're going complete in box. Loose copies of Game Boy Advance games are relatively cheap. You can get the cartridge for a decent price, even on highly sought after games. But we're going to start off with one I paid a lot for. This is Final Fantasy VI Advanced. And I'm a big Final Fantasy fan, as a lot of you guys are aware. A lot of fan in that sentence. But this was one I saw at my local game shop for $100. And at first I was like, heck no, I'm good. I looked it up. I saw some fantastic reviews. I am a sucker for job systems and RPGs. I'm an RPG fan, as you all know. And so then I looked at the prices online, and I found out this goes for about $120 to $150. It fluctuates a lot, but it's in that range. So I figured, local game shop deal. I like Final Fantasy, and also there weren't many copies online. Another thing you want to keep track of when you're buying games, how many you see online. That'll play a major factor in a couple of Game Boy Advance games I'm going to show you all. Next here is Dragon Ball Z Legendary Super Warriors. This game is awful, but I am a huge Dragon Ball fan. You'll notice I have these plastic covers real quick on these Game Boy games. I highly recommend you get them just to keep them protected. I'm going to look for one that can actually like kind of clamp onto it, not necessarily these, which as you can see are already like, this slides in normally, but it's already like popping out. Really annoying, and I'm not going to tape it up because I do want to play these games eventually, but you want to keep these boxes protected. They can dent easily, the corners can get messed up easily. Want to take good care of them. This was about $45 or $42 actually. which is an alright price to pay. A little bit over what I would want for a game that I know isn't that great. It's a turn-based RPG on the Game Boy Color. The combat's very minimal, but it was a game that I played a lot as a kid, especially on school field trips with a couple of my buddies with the multiplayer and stuff. So I hold good memories with it. And speaking of good memories, Dynasty Warriors Advance. This was a cheapie, 15 bucks complete in box. That's right in the wheelhouse. That's a good price to pay for it. It's like a tactical game, and when you like land on an enemy, it turns into like a whole action battle like you normally see in Dynasty Warriors. So it was really cool for its time. But yeah, that's like a game that you collect these games because you like to play them. Much like this whole series right here. This one, man, I love these games. All right, so this is what I mean by making sure you take good care of your boxes, and that you sometimes check the amount of the quantity rather of games available online. So Mega Man Battle Network is incredibly hard to find. These are amazing role-playing games on the Game Boy Advance. They have aged phenomenally well, at least in the combat and builds perspective. The story, a little cheesy, but it is incredible. Now, this I paid $90 for, complete in box, and you'll see that for a game that came out, I want to say 2001, this box is in pristine condition. And now, because when I bought it, there was only about 2 on the market, there are none. And when I saw one earlier, it was going for about, I want to say, 170. The prices on these games skyrocketed, because what happens is people see that the games are no longer being carried online, and so they say, I can set the price. And so they decide, you know what, there's no stores open, I'm gonna make it 200 bucks. So keep an eye on games and their quantity, where if you feel like you might be extending a little bit, which at the time, I'll be honest, I thought I was extending for these games. This one I got for $80, complete in box. And yeah, man, you'd think that's an overpay, but now this is going for like 130, so I got a really good deal on it. This is another one that I really absolutely need to make sure I keep protected, because these boxes are in amazing condition. The person I bought them from online, always message your sellers if you're really making a big investment, told me that they literally bought it, put in that sleeve, never took it out. So that game is in amazing condition. This one is a funny story. Sometimes you're gonna have to piecemeal your collection. Keep this in mind, because Battle Network 3 was such a pain to get my hands on. So there really was never a complete in box listing for this game, and overall the total I paid was around 50 some odd dollars, which is actually really good. I ended up saving money, but I would have paid 20 extra dollars just to really save myself the hassle. So what happened was I bought the manual and the copy of the game loose. So I paid, I think, $20 for those, and then I paid $35 actually, just for the box for this game, just for the box. And I was messaging this guy back and forth for days. I was like, dude, it's a box. It's a box. Just give me a deal here. And he's like, no, it's the only one on the market. Well, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you guys. He was right. He was right, because right when I bought this, I checked again. There hasn't been any blue version boxes on the market. This is when Mega Man Battle Network started to diversify and kind of take the route of Pokemon. They started to split up their versions. You'll see here Blue Moon. There was also Red Sun. Obviously, I picked Blue Moon for a clear reason, New Vegas. But really, I was just a blue kid growing up. And so, yeah, this was a game I got for about $50, right in the proper price range you want to be for a game like this. It's interesting because 1 and 2 are very expensive. 3, 4, and 5 aren't that much. 5 was the first one I got. This is the first ever Battle Network game I played. Box, as you can see, is not in great condition, which is why I got it for a decent price of around 45 bucks. But still, it's really hard to find these games. If you're interested in these games, by the way, they have Battle Network 5, which is Team Colonel and Team Proto Man, on a DS cartridge, and you can find that pretty easily online for about $40, which I'd recommend over getting this complete in box. But for me, this is my first ever Battle Network game, so I went ahead and bit the bullet, paid the price for it. But then it's funny, those games are all cheaper, and then you've got this Psybeast Falzar, which is the 6th and last Battle Network game, and this box is all kinds of dinged up, man. And I paid $100 for this game. I definitely overpaid for this game. The prices are a little bit higher online. It is about $120, but it fluctuates a lot. This game is 100% cheaper than what I paid for. I definitely overextended on this. It should be like around $80. It, you know, like I said, as the extra entries in the series kind of went down in price. Suddenly this spikes up. It's not really hard to find, but I think it may just hold value because it's the last one in the series. But that is the extent of our Game Boy Advance collection. Be very smart when collecting Game Boy Advance. But now we move into our DS, 3DS category. This is also one you want to be smart with. Any Nintendo-based products, be smart with, because that is where you can end up accidentally spending a lot of cash, which I did for, I want to say, one of these games. It's an interesting scenario. I'll let you guys decide. All right, first game is Chrono Trigger. I got this on such a good deal. I went to a local card shop. They also carried games at the time, and this came with not only the game as well as the manual, but you'll see right behind here, it comes with the poster, which was really, really nice. I mean, that is a good deal right there. I got it for $30, and it goes for about $60. So I got this at half off, and that was a steal, especially because Chrono Trigger on the DS is actually the definitive version you want to play, not even the SNES version or anything like that. So I was really happy I got my hands on that. Now here's where it gets interesting. We got a Pokemon duo here. So this is Pokemon Conquest. This is Nobunaga Oda, sorry, for those of you who don't know. He rampaged through Japan on a warpath, one of the most popular historical figures in Japanese history, and they based a Pokemon game off of him. So on his warpath, you know, they have Pokemon with them, and it's this amazing strategy game, right? And so you'd think this is niche. Not a lot of people have heard of this game. I paid $40 for this. It stayed at that price. Even with the renaissance of Pokemon, I thought this would for sure go up. It has not. Meanwhile, Explorers of Sky in... oh my god, the condition of this box is perfect. Like, this is what you want when you invest in a product. You've seen with, I spent $100 on a Game Boy Advance game, and it was kind of dinged up. This is the condition you want a product in when you're paying money for it. This is fantastic, from the artwork on the front to the actual content inside. It's all just crisp and clean. Mint condition is an understatement. But what's funny is this was $40, which is about the price you want to pay for it. It is still that price now. This, however, Pokemon Renaissance aside, I bought it before it really spiked up, was $85, which is still, or I got it for $80, sorry, which was still a decent deal. It's about $100 online, but you could definitely... it's weird, right? Like, this is so unique, and I guess gameplay doesn't matter in these situations, but like, this isn't hard to find. We've seen a million mystery dungeon games, but you know, you pay a price for I think just, you know, pop culture, right? Like, a lot of people rave about the story in this game. I'm a big Super Mystery Dungeon fan, so I wanted to pick it up. All right. This is where game collecting in your local shops is great. I've never heard of Valkyrie Profile. I remember the one on the PSP. I love the art for the cover of that game. I got this for 15 bucks. This was the right price to pay. It goes for about 17 online. But this was something I never would have crossed paths with if I didn't go to my local game shop. So do keep in mind, it's not all about the art of the deal. You want to make sure that you go in there and you look around, see if anything new catches your eye. That's kind of the beauty of this. So many games came out nowadays, and even back then, it's very, very easy to miss something. All right, we got a trio here. Naruto, Path of the Ninja, $5. Naruto, Ninja Destiny. I remember buying the Japanese version of this from Best Buy for like $50, and the guy at Best Buy was just like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I was like, "Yeah, of course." I was like 8. I had no idea what I was doing, but I did it anyway. And my mom was like, "Are you sure?" She paid for it. God bless her soul. And I went home, and of course I was sorely disappointed. Like, what an idiot. But yeah, got revenge here today. $5. And then Ninja Destiny 2, $5. So this is a $15 bundle right here. Pretty good deal. These are all roughly in the same price that they should be. I think this goes for $8 online, a decent amount, but the rest of these are $5 games. This I saw for $10 online, so, you know, that's where you're kind of like mincing a little bit. You know, it doesn't really matter at that point. It's 5 or 10. I know money can be different for everyone, but for me right there, like, I'm not rich by any stretch of the imagination, but I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm not gonna penny pinch that hard. All right, ending the DS catalog. Let's get it started with Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. This was one that did a whole video on. Yeah, $20. Fair price, nothing more to say. I got a whole video on that game. Dragon Ball Fusions. This game is amazing. One of the best RPGs of the last decade, in my opinion. You know how, like, you got Gogeta and Vegito and all that stuff? Gotenks. Imagine just being able to fuse anyone. So you get to fuse, I always go with Nappa and Raditz, and you make Naditz, and you can add them to your party. It's really cool. 20 bucks, perfect price for that game. And then this one was really interesting. Final Fantasy Explorers. It's kind of like a Monster Hunter Final Fantasy game. And I thought that was really neat, man. I was really into that. So I picked it up for $8. $8 complete in box. It's got everything that you could ask for. Hundreds of hours of content, reviewed really well, so I figured why not, right? Like it was really cheap and I was curious about it. So that's the DS, Game Boy, that's all handhelds right there. Now we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna move on over into the Xbox, and that is gonna be a whole other bag of worms. So here we go. All right, the first game should come as no surprise to anybody. Of course I got KOTOR 2. That may also actually surprise some of you now that I think about it, because you guys know I'm a KOTOR fanboy. So for me, man, I should have this game in my collection. I actually, funny enough, didn't. Saw it for about $20. This game goes up and down in price, man. You could get this digitally on the Xbox Marketplace, but of course, you know, as someone who's a huge fan of both games, I want to own both of them. But this game goes up and down. I've seen it upwards of 30. I've seen it as low as like 18. But this was a really good copy of the game. I was really happy with the condition it was in. And for me, I just felt like it was the universe telling me to go for it. So I paid about $22 for it. That's in the right area. But like I said, it goes up and down all the time. Now, this is a good example of a game that I made a choice on. There is the GameCube version, which is $30. And then there's the Xbox version, which was $10. And I'm a huge fan of 03 Ninja Turtles. They are the best era of Ninja Turtles, in my opinion. But here with TMNT Mutant Melee, it was a situation where I was like, okay, I like the GameCube. I love the box art for GameCube. But this is complete in box. It's the same game. And on Xbox Original, this is a cheap console to collect for. If you're looking to get started with some cheap stuff, this is a great place to go. Sadly, this doesn't work on backwards compatible for the One. But still, it was 10 bucks. And I was like, why would I ever spend 30 on GameCube? Be very wary of that. Be very, very wary of that. Last in the original Xbox edition, I didn't do much of that this year. I think next year is where I'll focus on for that. Is Full Spectrum Warrior. Seeing the Pandemic tag on there and seeing the great reviews didn't surprise me. I actually wasn't familiar with this game for a while until I started talking with some of the folks at Pandemic. It's a tactical first-person shooter, or a third-person shooter, sorry. And so I thought it was a really, really interesting looking game. It seemed very gritty and serious for what Pandemic's really known for. $5, complete in box, about the price that you should be paying for the game. Now we move on to the Xbox 360, where there are some interesting ones in here. I'll just say that. Infinite Undiscovery, an unsung RPG hero for sure, as I mentioned in one of my videos. $15. It goes for about $17 most places, so I mean $2. We're penny pinching at that point, but I would say that's not a bad deal at all. And this game's all right. It's a good game if you like Tales of games. But still, once again, just staying smart. 360 is another platform that collecting for. It can be pretty cheap. But when you get into the exclusive area like this, only on Xbox 360, you can download these games on the Xbox One, these two right here. So that does impact the prices of getting them complete in box. But what's great is that you can slide these into your Xbox One, no problem, and they'll work. Lost Odyssey, what an amazing RPG. I made a whole video combining these two along with the next game we'll talk about. And this one here was $20. Comes with 4 discs, and yeah, they do just indeed pop out like that. So do be careful of that if you are going to invest. For those who are wondering, by the way, if you are to buy Lost Odyssey, let's say you're going to play it on a 1, you just put in disc 1 and that's it. So if you're looking to save money on this game and just play in general, you could just buy disc 1 and then pop that sucker into your Xbox One and you're good to go. So that's another way to save some cash. But yeah, Lost Odyssey, great game, 20 bucks. It's more than fine with me. All right, this is one of the most expensive Xbox 360 games. Operation Darkness, if you ever see the Atlas tag on a game, be aware, because it'll go out of print very soon in the US. So this is another game in that trio of JRPGs I just highlighted, which pretty much you go to World War II, and there are zombies and werewolves, and it's really difficult. It's a very different game. I paid $48 for this. Goes for about 55 to 60, but this was one that I bid for. So bidding pays off. I would rather pay 48 than 60 for this game, especially because of how difficult it is. But like I said, just a nice reminder this deep into the video that bidding is your best friend, for sure. You just got to have the patience. So I mentioned how there are a lot of crimes against game boxes in this video. Here's another one. The GameStop boys did it again. They went ahead, they just slapped that sticker right here on the box itself. Not on the plastic, but on the actual art itself. So I'm going to be extra. I am going to be buying this game. It's box online. This is another only for Xbox 360 game. I don't know why it's not backwards compatible. These Naruto RPGs are amazing. I should have mentioned that earlier when I was talking about the DS. But anyway, Rise of a Ninja is a fantastic game. This was $12. It usually goes for $17, $18 online. So I actually got a good deal. This is a local game shop, tiny deal. Next is a trio of Xbox games that we're going to wrap it up with. So we've got Final Fantasy 13, 13-2, and Lightning Returns. Now, we're going to put this off to the side here. I got these two together, 13 and 13-2, for $14. They go for about $9 each. So you save a little bit of money there. That's not accounting for tax and shipping, by the way. None of these are accounting for tax and shipping. It's just the price I paid for the game itself. So that extra cash, once again, you compile this all together. That's a bunch of other games you can add to your catalog. It sounds like you're nickel and diamond, but it does go a long way if you're really like budgeting yourself and saying like, okay, I want to have, you know, $80 to spend on games. You can make that go a long way if you're really smart with it. You bid wisely. And you think like this, where, you know, these two were in a bundle together. And then I bought this one separately for $20. No regrets. I like Final Fantasy 13 as a series, very much so. Happy to have these in my collection. Really recommend them to people. Don't play the Steam version, though. Play them on Xbox One backwards compatibility. But yeah, for this whole trio of games, what did we pay? 34 bucks. Not too bad. Hopefully one day Square Enix actually decides to put them all on the PS4 and Xbox One in a remastered format. But anyway, we're nearing the end here, ladies and gentlemen. We're oh so close. That was the Xbox section. Now we've just got the PS4 as well as the Switch and a couple of other random games that I wanted to throw in there. And then we'll wrap it up. All right, here we go. PS Vita, you know, you had to throw in one in there. This is just a reminder. Support your friends, okay? I help out Colin on his channel, and I do some of the podcasts with him. And yeah, great guy. So just a reminder, help your friends out whenever you can. All right, anyway, moving on. Let's talk about PS4. All right, we got the Trails of Cold Steel series, Decisive and Definitive Edition. Do not, by the way, if you are, I'm sorry, Relentless Edition. You do not ever want to look up the box art, the official, like, disc box art for this game. Do not do it if you are interested in this series. It is a huge spoiler. Like a crazy spoiler. So as you can see, this copy here of one is still sealed. This one is open because I've been playing it lately. Yeah, so Trails of Cold Steel as a series is pretty good. I wanted to support the developers because I know it's very underrated. So after I beat the first one on my Vita, which I had bought back in 2014 or 15, I went ahead and just picked up the copy for the PS4 in case a friend ever wants to borrow it or something like that. And once again, to support the developers. But I paid $80 for both of these. Slight overpay. I paid for a bundle of them sealed. I probably could have got this for way cheaper if I went digital. Always remember that with these PS4 games and stuff, is that digital, you will find it cheaper a little bit quicker. But also with newer games, ladies and gentlemen, all I'm saying is I'm a YouTuber, so I try to hop on these new releases as soon as possible for content. But if you are just a consumer of these products, please just wait 2 weeks, and I'll show you an example right here. Captain Tsubasa, Rise of New Champions, great soccer game, anime soccer, amazing. I paid $60. 2 weeks later, this game dropped to $40. Now this game went on sale for $40 2 weeks later. That happens all the time. You can get games easily for $40 if you just wait 2 weeks. I can't stress it enough. Every game in this stack for the PS4 that I'm about to show you went on sale 2 weeks later for $40. So remember that when you're hunting for physical games. You can get them cheap digitally, but you can get them almost immediately cheap physically. I have the Somnium Files Day 1 edition. Did not buy this Day 1, bought this sometime in June for my birthday to treat myself. My girlfriend, her parents actually gifted me a eBay card for $50, so I picked this game up. And I'm a huge Danganronpa fan. This game is always compared to it because it was directed by the man who created the Zero Escape franchise. This was a game that admittedly, I paid $60 for this. I did admittedly overpay for this. This is about a $45 game now, and it's gone down in value. I thought it would only go up because it's a Spike Chunsoft game. It's pretty niche and all that stuff. But don't be like me. I put too much weight into niche a lot of times where I'm like, I gotta get this now because it's gonna really go up. That has not yet really happened to me. I'm just really paranoid. All right, last PS4 game is Hack. Last Recode. Hack GU Last Recode. Got this for $20 sealed. You could get this a little bit cheaper used, about 15 bucks, so a little bit of an overpay. But I've been recommended this series so many times. I have it ready to go on the backlog. I did play the first, I don't know what they call it, like episode or whatever. I played Volume 1. I did play that. I beat it. It was solid. And then I never moved into Volume 2. I just kind of moved on after that. So I'll have to replay that and then go in through the rest to kind of re-experience everything. We have one Switch game. Switch games are super expensive. They never go down in price because Nintendo is ridiculous. So we got The World Ends With You here, Final Remix. I bought this strictly to support. The DS version is better. If you're going to play this game, buy the DS version. This is the phone version ported onto the Switch. It's not as good, but I did remember seeing Nintendo and Square Enix say that if this got enough support, they would consider a sequel. I love this game, so for me, strictly bought it because I wanted the sequel. It was about 20 bucks, which is a very fair price for it. It's a great game, great content, very different too. All right. Wrapping up this video, ladies and gentlemen, is the GameCube. So I bought a GameCube this year for $80, and it came with these two games. I kid you not, they were all complete in box. If you guys are familiar at all with the GameCube, you know that is a stupid, disgustingly good deal. Not only that, it came with a wireless GameCube controller. A buddy really hooked me up. Yeah, so I got Melee complete in box. I got Wind Waker complete in box. This is about, like, I think $40. I know this is about like $50. So that is more than the console itself. Then I got the console, all the cables, a controller, and then I paid separately for a Game Boy player to attach to the console to record any Game Boy games. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, suffice to say, this was a really good deal. This is why trading with friends, negotiating with friends, locally is always got to be your first option. Hopefully I've emphasized that enough this video. And last but not least, this was a gift from my lovely girlfriend. Mega Man Anniversary Collection. I don't think I preach enough on the channel how much I love Mega Man. I hope that my Game Boy collection spoke enough to how much I love Mega Man. But I was really happy to have this added as well. I thought this was a great gift. It shows she knows me very, very well, because I don't think, like I said, many people know how much I like Mega Man. But anyway, this is the final game in my collection. I just want to go over all those prices, kind of tell you guys where exactly I landed with each of them. This was a gift, so obviously raw profit. But I hope this video was helpful for you if you're looking to get into game collecting. I know it's a little bit different. I know this is a bit long-winded, but I wanted to go through my whole collection, show it off to you all, but also kind of break down what I paid, how I paid for it, and kind of just give you perspective as I went through the process, so that when you dive into it, if you're new or you're current, that you have this perspective and can avoid some of the lessons I had to learn, but also pick up some of the tips that I picked up at the same time. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry that my face cam died in the middle of this, but I hope you still enjoyed it nonetheless. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below, and I'll talk with you guys soon. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.